For the briefest of moments, the small and little-known Caribbean island of Dominica was thrust into the spotlight of the world's media as it bore the full force of Hurricane Maria.
Some people are not smelling the coffee that's burning.
This one was terrifying. This one was really wild.
But just as quickly as the storm moved on to more recognisable places, so did the eyes of the world, leaving Dominicans at home and abroad scrambling for information.
She dead, he's gone, she gone.
I waited weeks to hear news of my family's safety and the state of the country, so it's a relief to be back. But nothing could have prepared me for seeing just how much was lost.
It looks completely different, looks like a totally different place. It's really shocking.
Dominica is no stranger to hurricanes and serious storms, but Maria moved boulders, uprooting 300-year-old trees, and with a changing climate, there will be worse to come.
If there was another hurricane as bad as Maria...
I would run, brother, I would run. I wouldn't stay.
I first went to reunite with my cousin Sheila and her son Glendale in Point Michelle.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I've been waiting for this.
Good morning, come watch your head when you're going up because
Thank you.
the house is not as it used to be before. Good morning.
Come in.
Morning. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to see you. Looking well.
This village, where most of my family live, saw the greatest loss of life in the whole country.
When you came out after the storm had finished, how did you feel?
I just couldn't believe it. When you're under the concrete roof, you will hear the wind and thing, but you have no idea what was really going on until you open the doors. The next morning, I'm like, what?
What does it mean for the community? How are they coping?
Houses can be replaced, but lives cannot be replaced. There's nothing we can do, we survive.
My cousin Carlton, Sheila's brother, is a teacher at the local school in Point Michelle. I wanted to see how the children and staff were coping now that some of the classes have resumed.
Observe. We're going to look at what is called the permeability. Say the word permeable. What's that? Permeable. You have to observe and write how the water is going through the sandy soil. This was a classroom, as you can see. A tree fell, dented this, destroyed everything. Now that tree was like over 200 years old. A massive tree. You remember that tree, right, as a kid, right?
Yes. That was still big.
When I came back to school, I was in awe. I was in shock. Because every building in the school was compromised. The roofs, I was like, wow, how are we going to recover from that?
What would you say the long-term impacts on the Dominican education system are going to be?
The kids are behind because of time, what Maria did. There are still kids from the high schools who are out, who have not gone back to school yet. So that is definitely going to have an impact on their education.
Did the school lose any staff or pupils?
Yes, we lost staff, ancillary staff, people, the cleaner, the cook. 2 parents and about six students, about that, yeah. You know, there was just a feeling of emptiness because they were gone. I mean, you were not going to see them in this life again. There was another one, he had gone to high school already. They found the body of that one. Yeah, I taught him music. Yeah, Maury. They found his body. But most of the other kids, they didn't find him.
Star, who lives in the next town over, lost his 15 and 4-year-old daughters in the hurricane.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, Steve here.
I love about you.
Yes, my brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
The mother, she not taking it too well because you know mothers how they feel with their children, you check?
The body of his youngest daughter has not been found.
No matter how you put it, is dead, she dead. She gone, you don't get her, she miss, you don't meet her, she dead, it's gone, she gone. But the strength, my brother, you have that, I mean. I have that, you know. If I wasn't strong, my children would be crying, they would be traumatized, but you see my children, they're dealing with it on a level of strength and mental and physical, all the way you check, because they see to themselves, their father never cried there. My head does hurt me sometimes, but I can't be weak, because if I weak, my family will end up weak, you check?
Yeah. So you said your girlfriend is struggling with this more than you. How has she been, what's she been saying? How's she been taking this?
I mean, she does say nothing much, you know. She feeling like her daughter does somewhere without a proper burial. A lot of places in the world, my brother, you don't find their body, you just know they're dead. You check? And that thing that passed there, that is like when you watch a war zone in Afghanistan. So you don't know where your child buried under the rumble of that war there. You just know your child died, but you didn't get the body to bury. I mean, it's a hard thing. It's a hard feeling. You check? It's a real hard thing to deal with, my brother, because you see me there, I mean, I'm trying to deal with it, my brother.
For all his strength, it seems Starr was carrying more pain than he felt able to show. It made me realise that dealing with the physical loss was only the start of the recovery.
How have you been coping with what has been happening so far?
Condition is a little rough still.
Nature will regrow and houses can be rebuilt, but the psychological impacts, can they be repaired in the same way?
No, they are longer lasting. There is likely to be depression. There is also post-traumatic stress disorder, which can be as a result of a traumatic event like Maria. And so we offer coping strategies that we think might work. So how does keeping active help you? I hear you say it's good.
Yeah, take away the stress.
It's take away the stress.
The mind is focused.
The mind is focused, very good. And I like how you bring up the mind, because the mind is very important.
It's okay, it's preventing you from thinking of what happened. It's all right.
The people of Jubic have had their lives uprooted before. This village was built as a replacement for their old community, which was entirely destroyed by Tropical Storm Erica in 2015. Now, just 2 years on, history has repeated itself.
This is the house the government has provided because of Erica, and now it's been destroyed by Maria. How many times are they going to keep doing this?
On the Indian River, tour guide Cobra and his team are frantically clearing in the hope that tours can resume soon.
How much does Dominica depend on tourism?
Tourism is everybody's business, you know. I mean, just name it. It has to connect with tourism. If Christopher Columbus would come back to the islands, the first island he would recognize, or the only one, is Dominica, because it's the only island that looked like he left it.
So what was it like when you first came back here after Maria?
It was unbelievable. You could literally stand in the middle of the river and walk all the way up on debris, climbing mountains of heavy trunk of wood. Maria was the monster.
And if they do get worse and worse every year, will Dominica keep being able to rebuild and survive?
That's a tricky question, but it's a relevant one and it's a real one. We as human beings, we have disturbed the ozone layer and we are the cause for a lot of our environmental destructions. Dominica is nowhere close to all the pollution and destruction of the natural environment. Nevertheless, we don't have a switch on and off or control button to tell a hurricane how terrible to hit any destination. It's a pity Dominica get the brunt of it, but some people are not smelling the coffee that's burning. Some of the world leaders, by the time it knocks on their doors, it might be too late.
The change to Dominica's environment was upsetting to see. It made me worry that an integral part of the country's identity had been lost. Anne's ecotourism site depends on the country's natural beauty.
I encourage them in that.
Do you think that the hurricanes will get worse in the future?
Well, I don't know if they'll get worse than this last one we had. This one was terrifying. This one was really wild.
When you see the destruction, what does it look like to you?
I think it's exquisitely beautiful. It thrills me to see it. I wake up in the morning and I look, and it's so gorgeous. You know, together, if we care for it and nurture it, it will renew itself, maybe differently, but it will come back.
If this keeps happening time and time again, can people keep rebuilding their lives and communities?
Well, if I'm any example, it just gives me more fervor to do something better, something more stable. And Dominicans are they love their country. It's difficult, but I'm sure that people will keep on keeping on. You know, it's a very small community. Everybody is family in the country.
My own family organised a reunion party at Sheila's house at the end of my trip. I wanted to know if they felt optimistic.
Do you feel like the spirit of the people is broken?
A lot of people gave up. They didn't know what to do. Some people were dazed. And eventually, I mean, people just realized, hey, we don't have a choice. We just have to do what we have to do.
Carry on.
Carry on, yeah.
It has brought a lot of people together. People that wasn't even speaking, people that were enemies. They came together and they helped people that were stranded. They helped people that lost loved ones. They comforted them to bring one another up.
What do you see for the future of Dominica?
A lot of people got offers to go. I got offers to leave Dominica, but everybody cannot run away. We will rise again. Dominica will make it back.
I remember learning once in a history class, after a disaster, after a war, there's always a boom. So I believe that things will always get better. People say the hurricanes will get worse. We as people will just have to evolve.
After the doom and gloom headlines, Dominica seemed broken. But I've been struck by people's strength, despite the trauma. My hope is that the resilience of the Dominican people is matched by a global effort to protect those bearing the brunt of climate change.